Então, o compêndio da Lectio Divina é uma forma simples, prática, acessível de ter na tua mão o resumo de toda a oração de um ano litúrgico. Com esse livro, você não vai perder a tua oração, você vai registrar dia após dia o conteúdo da tua oração. E a oração vai se transformar vida, vai se transformar em decisões, em práticas concretas. Essa palavra é tão poderosa que um só versículo pode mudar toda a sua vida. E o que é a Lectio Divina? A Lectio Divina, como o nome diz, é uma leitura orante da Palavra de Deus. 5 passos, muito simples, e a leitura é algo objetivo. O que é que esses textos falam hoje, concretamente? Lê com calma, lê tranquilamente, lê várias vezes essas 3 leituras. Depois da leitura você tem a meditação. Então a meditação é um movimento de entrar dentro de nós, onde Deus habita no mais profundo de nós, e escutar o que é que Deus quer me falar a mim, naquilo que eu vivo hoje, com essa palavra. A graça da oração. Se Deus me fala, eu respondo. Uma pessoa que ama, responde à pessoa amada. E o 4º passo, a contemplação, que transpassa o teu coração e torna o teu dia todo diferente. E essa palavra deve ficar ruminando no nosso coração ao longo de todo o dia. E o último passo, a resolução. Qual a decisão que eu tomo face a essa palavra? Na escuta do verbo.
Hi everyone, welcome to this Thursday, September 2nd, when we come together to pray sacred scripture. I'm Sister Mary Elizabeth from Seeds of the Word community, and I would like to welcome all of you that are joining us today. And for the readings of this Thursday, we will read Colossians, the letter of St. Paul to the Colossians, chapter 1, verses 9 to 14, Responsorial Psalm, Psalm 98, 9-8, and the Gospels from St. Luke, chapter 5, verses 1 to 11. Let's start the reading of the Word of God for today. Since the day we heard of your life in Christ, we have not ceased praying for you and asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of God's will, in all spiritual wisdom and understanding, so that you may lead lives worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to Him, as you bear fruit in every good work, and as you grow in the knowledge of God. May you be made strong with all the strength that comes from His glorious power, and may you be prepared to endure everything with patience, while joyfully giving thanks to the Father, who has enabled you to share in the inheritance of the saints in the light. He has rescued us from the power of darkness. He transferred us into the kingdom of His beloved Son, in whom we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins. The word of the Lord, thanks be to God. Since the day we heard of your life in Christ, we have not ceased praying for you. Paul, a good shepherd of this community, says, since the day I've heard of your life in Christ, I have not ceased praying for you. Paul kept praying for this community, as we should keep praying for each other, praying for each one of us, praying for our families, for our friends, for people that we love, for our parish communities, for our spiritual families, for our communities. We should be continually praying for others and for each other, and asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of God's will in all spiritual wisdom and understanding. That you may be filled with the knowledge of God's will. What a gift to be filled with the knowledge of God. To be filled with the knowledge of God's will. We all want to know God's will. And we are always asking, what is God's will for my life? What is God's will for me now? What is God's will? What is God's will? And that should be our prayers, what we should be asking. Lord, fill me with the knowledge of your will. Lord, fill me with the knowledge of your will in all spiritual wisdom and understanding. Spiritual wisdom, not worldly wisdom, but spiritual wisdom. This wisdom that comes from Jesus' heart. It's not the wisdom of the world. It's not the wisdom of business and money and intelligence and science. No. It's wisdom of the Spirit of God. Spiritual wisdom and understanding, so that you may lead lives worthy of the Lord. How will you and I lead lives worthy of the Lord? If we have this spiritual wisdom and understanding and knowledge of God's will. Let's ask for this grace today of having the knowledge of God's will. The responsorial Psalm 98 says, "The Lord has made known his victory. He has revealed his vindication in the sight of the nations. He has remembered his steadfast love and faithfulness to the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth have seen the victory of our God. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Break forth into joyous song. Break forth into joyous song and sing praises. Sing praises to the Lord with the lyre and the sound of melody, with trumpet and the sound of the horn. Make a joyful noise before the King, the Lord." Make a joyful noise before the King, the Lord. The Gospel from St. Luke chapter 5 verses 1 to 11 says, "Once while Jesus was standing beside the lake of Gennesaret, and the crowd was pressing in on him to hear the word of God, he saw two boats there at the shore of the lake. The fishermen had gone out of them and were washing their nets. He got into one of the boats, the one belonging to Simon, and asked him to put out a little way from the shore. Then Jesus sat down and taught the crowds from the boat. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, Put out into the deep water and let down your nets for a catch." Simon answered, "Master, we have worked all night long, but have caught nothing. If you say so, I will let down the nets." When they had done this, they caught so many fish that their nets were beginning to break. So they signaled their partners in the other boat to come and help them, and they came and filled both boats, so that they began to sink. But then when Simon Peter saw it, he fell down at Jesus' knees, saying, "Go away from me, Lord, for I am a sinful man." For Peter and all who were with him were amazed at the catch of fish that they had taken. And so also were James and John, sons of Zebedee, who were partners with Simon. Then Jesus said to Simon, "Do not be afraid. From now on, you will be catching people." When they had brought their boats to shore, they left everything and followed Jesus. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. The Gospel of St. Luke, chapter 5, is known by this passage of this miraculous fishing, miraculous catching of fish. Jesus asked the fishermen, Peter, Andrew, James, and John. He asked, "Put into the deep water and let down your nets for a catch." Put out into the deep water. It's the same question that he asked each one of us. Put out into the deep water. Duc in nautum in Latin. Duc in nautum. Put out into the deep water. We cannot live in a surface, in shallow waters. The Lord is asking us to go deep, to live deep our faith, to live deep in what we believe, to believe in Him with all our soul, with all our mind, with all our understanding. It means to go deep. And with the first reading, where we need to ask to be filled with the knowledge of God's will, this is to go to deep waters. We don't want to live in the shallow, up here in the surface. No. We need to live in the deep waters and say, Lord, I want to live a deep life with you. I want to live a life of wisdom, understanding, and knowledge of your will. I don't want to live by my will, by the knowledge of my will, but by the knowledge of your will. That's what the Lord is asking of us today. He's asking us to desire it, to want it, and to ask this grace. And also today, September 2nd, is the day of Blessed André Grasat. André Grasat was born in Montreal on April 3rd, 1758. His father was French from Montpellier and had arrived in Canada in 1749, when appointed secretary of the new Governor General of the New France. After the death of his first wife, he married the daughter of a rich merchant, with whom he had 5 children. André was the second. They lived close to the chapel of Bon Secours. After the Treaty of Paris on February 10, 1763, Mr. Grasat decided to sell his property and to return to France. André is 6 years old. He is sent together with his brother to the college Saint-Barbe in Paris, where he finishes his classical studies before going to prepare for priesthood. His bishop recognizes his qualities and piety and appoints him as canon of the cathedral. 2 years later, in 1783, he is ordained priest. When the French Revolution begins in 1789, André is 31 years old. In 1790, the National Constituent Assembly suppresses the cathedral chapters and in 1791 obliges all members of clergy to sign the Constitution Civile du Clergé. André finds refuge with the Edouist Fathers in Tourettes, Paris. Here, in 1792, he is captured and made prisoner in the Carmelite convent, where today is the Institut Catholique in Paris. In September 2nd, 1792, together with other 92 priests and 3 bishops, he is asked to answer the question, "Have you signed the Constitution Civile du Clergé?" By answering, "No, my conscience forbids me to do so," he is thrown down in the garden, where guards with bayonets, swords, and spikes kill him. The Pope Pius XI beatified him together with the other martyrs of September and October 17, 1926. André Grasat is the first Canadian to be beatified. The first Canadian to be beatified we celebrate today. So he is still a blessed. We don't call him a saint yet, but we ask him to pray for us, to pray for our country, Canada, to pray for our priests. May they be faithful to what they learn. May they be faithful to what they believe. And may our church be faithful, proclaiming the truth of the gospel, putting into the deep, duc in nautum, going into the deep. May we live in deep faith and hope and love. Amen.